is the special aspects of auditing in an automated environment. Okay, right. So earlier in your syllabus, right, you had something, rather when I had written my CA course, there was something called as a subject as MICS, Management Information and Control System. You may not be knowing this also. When I wrote my CA final, there was a subject called as MICS. Okay, right. Then apart from the name of the subject, I don't remember anything. But yeah, there was a subject called as MICS. Then after that, in the revised course, it happened to become the ISCA, right? The Information System, and Control Audit or something like that, right? And then after that, ISCA got removed from the syllabus, and then they have the ITT and the advanced ITT and all of that. Okay, right. So initially, when computers came, right, there used to be the LAN, WAN, you would have studied all those terms, MAN and everything, middle area network, the wide area network, local area network, and all of that. Right now, today, we've reached to the clouds. From the networking over there, we have now reached to the clouds over there, right? Wherein we talk about the clouds, we talk about the cryptocurrency, we talk about the blockchain technology, the machine learning, the artificial intelligence, right? So once upon a time, we used to study concepts like decision support system, expert system, but now things have gone much beyond that, right? So it started with the EDP, the enterprise data processing. Then it became the ERP, the enterprise resource planning. Then it became the CIS, the computerized information systems environment. So in the earlier syllabus, this chapter was called as the special aspects of auditing in a CIS environment, computerized information systems environment. But now the chapter is called as the automated environment. Okay, so and then say in the future the chapter will become, I'm predicting astrology. Okay, what that in future this chapter will become special aspects of auditing in an artificial intelligence environment, or auditing in a robotic environment, because it says it could become history that humans are allowed to drive cars. You understand? It says it would become the history. I don't know how it can become history in India, but they say that. Okay, okay, humans will not be allowed to drive cars. That is the day which is going to come in the future. Okay, so like now at present can't imagine, but at one point of time, 20, 30 years from now, could you imagine the entire world connected together? You understand the World Wide Web, the internet, when it came that you could talk to any person in the world or something, could that be imagined? No, it could not be imagined at that point of time. But now, is it possible to imagine that? Yes. But now, is it actually happened over there? Yes, it has actually happened over there, right? So already huge amount of automation, which is happening in the several industries. And so, like if you see the entire manufacturing of the Audi car and all of that, it is entirely automated. There is hardly any manual intervention in the assembly of the car. There are these robotic arms who will do the entire assembly of the car over there, and some work people, the line people who will be just supervising the entire process or so, right? So it's all a world of the automation, and automation is like, what you say, experienced everywhere around us, wherein we talk about the ATM, we talk about the stock exchange transaction. Can you imagine that time when your grandfather invested in the Reliance share or the Infosys or the Hindustan Unilever shares, or those type of companies over there, right? Then the broker, that grandfather, when a broker used to come to meet him, and then he used to tell him, okay, these shares I want to buy or sell. Then the broker used to purchase, sell those securities at a particular price. No telephone also, no real track updating also, nothing. And then after a few days you purchase, sell the shares or so. Even CA results, they say they used to come in the newspaper. You understand? No, the list used to come into the newspaper over there. And even if you're staying in some village or something over there, the newspaper doesn't come in that village over there. So some relative of yours, you need to make a call to them and ask them whether my name is seen in the number is seen in the results which have been declared in the newspaper. Now today though, if you know, okay, the result is at 16th January 2026 at 9 o'clock in the morning or something, 11 o'clock in the morning. Since 7 o'clock in the morning or midnight only, they start ca results.nic.in and function 5, refresh, refresh, refresh. And it will come when it has to come. It will come when it has to come over there, right? But anyways, they'll keep on tracking that particular, ca results.nic.in. But see, now earlier patience was required. Now the problem is now patience is not required only. That is the problem. Earlier, even though if I felt like seeing someone, I could not, I could not meet someone, or even if I want to talk to somebody, or even though if I want to travel somewhere, I cannot do it because by means of communication, everything, like better for my generation, but more difficult for the earlier generation than this. Earlier generation, you see now your uncles and aunties, they use WhatsApp, Facebook more actively than what we use. They are like full time. You have to tell them, how much phone you will use. Stop now. They are happy in their life. They will play Candy Crush. Oh my God, they love it. They are not. They have no complaint against the daughter-in-law. No complaint regarding anybody. They are happy. Why? Because their Candy Crush ka nest level is cleared. You understand that people don't talk only nowadays to each other. They are strangers. Why? No need to talk to anybody. Everything is available on the phone. I want to go to a location, search it on Google. I want to buy something, search it on Google. Earlier, how it used to happen that you had to ask, okay, what is the route to go somewhere? Or, I wanted to make one phone. Can I call from this number? So there was more opportunity for interaction and all over there. Today, everybody, and a cervical, people, everybody has cervical problem. Why cervical? Because continuously looking like that only, right? Into the phone only over there. Right. So anyways, what we are talking about over here, that the stock exchange, the ATM, the banking, the railway ticket booking, IRCTC, earlier you wanted to do a railway ticket booking, you had to go and stand in that railway office over there, and then you could do your ticket booking over there. But now IRCTC, Exigo, you just go on their website, you have your user ID password, you put the destination and the location and the departure and the arrival, and they will immediately show you, and the tickets are got. Earlier they used to put the sheets and everything, okay, which bogie, which people's name is there. Now all that is done away with. And most of those things are done away with, right? So what is all this? This is all the magic of the automation, right? This is all the magic of the automation. So what is automated environment over there? It says where the people, procedures, and the systems, right? The people, processes, and the systems, that is the technologies, are operating in a automated environment. The ecosystem is operating in the IT, the information technology, or the information system environment, right? So an automated environment is an ecosystem that combines PPT. What is PPT? People, processes, and technologies within an overall business environment. And typically the automated environment is driven by the computer-based systems, which are also known as the information technology systems or the information system, right? The information technology or the information systems, right? So people, process, and technology within an overall business environment operating in a computer-based system. That is the concept of the automated environment, right? So which chapter have we started discussing over here? The chapter on the automated environment, the special aspects of auditing in an automated environment. Okay, and what is the first thing we studied is the meaning of the automated environment. And now we'll be looking into the key features of an automated environment, right? What are the key features of an automated environment? So now, in this automated environment, what could be the type of business applications which could be there? Right? So one, it says you could be having the package software like the Tally, right? Package software used by micro small business enterprises over there. Like, it could, there is two versions of Tally. Now, one is Tally and one is Tally ERP. Right? So that could be the small packages. Like, nowadays you get a package for filing income tax return also, software for that. You get a software for calculating depreciation also, for computing income tax also. And you get a software. So these are the package software, right? You just install or download the app and you install it on your computer. Second one is the small ERPs used in the small to the medium businesses, like say Tally ERP, the SAP business one, Focus ERP or so, right? So which are for a small organization, like say a small company having a turnover of 10, 12 crore or something like that, right? And then you have the big ERPs, the ERP applications which are used in the medium to large companies. So like SAP, Oracle, Enterprise Business Suite or so, right? So again, in your exams, what they can do, they can say SAP R3, Oracle R12, and Enterprise Business Suite are the examples of package software, small ERPs, ERP applications, or the medium ERPs, right? So they are the examples of the ERP applications, right? So one, what you say, that it could be a package software, like, so it is packed, you know, so it's a package software, right? Or what it could be, apart from a package software, it could be a small ERP, or it could be the ERP applications, or it could be the ERP applications. Are you understanding that? Package software, small ERP, or the ERP application. What are these? These are the category of the business application. The more bigger your organization, the more the or bigger software or the ERP would be required over there. Okay. Now, category of business application done. Now coming to category of the technology infrastructure and the physical and environmental aspect. That is, we are talking about the various layers of an automated environment. So what are the two alternative headings for this one? Category of the technology infrastructure and the physical and environmental aspect. Or another manner in which the question can come in your exam is the various layers of an automated environment, and various layers of an automated environment. So in the key features, what is one we studied? The category of the business applications, right? One, what we studied is the category of the business applications, and the other which we are studying is the category of the technology infrastructure, the technology and also the physical and environmental landscape. And also it could also be called as the various layers. It could also be called as the various layers of an automated environment. Okay, right. So various layers of an automated environment. Like in school days, have you studied that stratosphere, ionosphere, and atmosphere, and all of that? Ozone layer in between, and all of that. Right. So say, now this is the, what do you say? This is the Milky Way, right? Then now you don't need to remember this, I'm writing, you don't write it, right? This is the Milky Way. In the Milky Way there are so many systems. Out of that there is one solar system over, yes, out of that one system is the solar system, right? That in that solar system there is one planet called as the Earth. In that Earth there is one place called as the India. In that India there is one particular city, and in that city you are there, right? In that city you are there, just a speck of dust in the entire universe, or something that they say. So anyways, what are we talking about over here? One, the physical and environmental landscape. That means wherever the automated environment is operating, in that premises, will there be CCTV camera? Will there be firefighting equipments over there? Yes, there will be CCTV camera, firefighting equipment, temperature control. Or if you go to server room now of any particular company, it is so cold over there, you always have to carry a sweatshirt only with you. Why? Because they need to maintain a temperature at a particular level over there, right? So that's the physical and environmental landscape. Then after the, the CCTV camera is there, firefighting equipment is there. Now what you come to is the hardware and the storage devices, right? So you see now hardware is again going to be the all the CPUs or the processing units which have been kept over there, and the storage devices could again be the hard disk, and nowadays it could also be the cloud, right? So hardware and the storage devices. Then in this hardware and storage devices you have the operating systems. Then these operating systems, they connect to each other. So you have the network devices like the switches, routers, and the firewall. Then through these network devices you create a network, and in the network there is the database, which is Facebook, example. And which is, say, example, the Facebook is an example, or Instagram is an example of an automated environment, right? Is the entire database there online over there, right? All the reels and all the posts which you see over there on the Instagram, right? All of you connected with all the people whom you are following or who is following you over there, right? That is the database. But for that database, will there be a network? Yes. Will there be network devices? Yes. Then will there be an operating system for the Instagram? Yes, you have to download the app over there. Then for the operating system, will there be hardware and the storage devices? Yes. And will there be the physical and environmental landscape also? Yes. Yes, so these are the various layers of an automated environment. Like, onion. And an onion, if you see an entire onion, right? First you see the, what do you say, the peel of the onion over there, the pink color over there. And then after that, if you open it further, it gets these small layers of it which can come out. Are you understanding? Or if you see the corn, the, what do you say, the maize, the maze over there. Oh my God, there are so many layers of the, what you say, layers of the skin which it has over there. And then ultimately you reach to the corn over there, right? The corn which has been put over there. So just as there are all these layers, now you don't need to remember the layers of onion and maize, but just as an example, here we are talking about the various layers of an automated environment. More recommended for us to remember it in the reverse sequence. What is the reverse sequence? The CCTV cameras and the firefighting equipment, and so that is the physical and environmental. Then in that particular room where CCTV and camera is there, the firefighting equipment is there, there is the hardware and the storage. In that hardware and storage, there is the operating system. Then that operating system is connected through the network devices. So you have a network, and through that network you are operating your database. Are you understanding that? Various layers of an automated environment. Okay, right? So first you have the D and D over there. What is D and D? Database, network, and the network devices. So database, network, and the network devices. And then again you have the ODP. What is ODP? The operating systems, the hardware and storage devices, right? So network devices. And here also you have the hardware and the storage devices, and then you have the physical and environmental landscape, right? The physical and environmental landscape, right? So database, network, then the network devices, database, network, then the network devices, then the operating system, then the hardware and storage devices, hardware and storage, two words, and physical and environmental, again two words over there, the physical and environmental landscape, right? What are the examples of database given over there? Oracle, MS SQL Server. Network, local area, network, wide area network, or the virtual private network, VPN, right? The network devices, you could have these switches, routers, or the firewalls. Operating systems could be Windows, Unix, or the Linux. Then what are the hardwares? Servers, disks. Now disks and tapes, I don't know which world are they living in. And a floppy disk. Do you remember floppy disk? Something called as a floppy disk over there, right? So yeah, disk, magnetic tapes, and storage devices. And then you have the physical and environmental landscape, which is the access to IT facilities, CCTVs, temperature control, firefighting equipment, etc. Right? So you have to remember two things. You have to remember the layers also, and you have to remember the example for each layer also. And you have to remember the layer, and you have to remember the example for each layer also. Okay, right? So what are we talking about over here? The key is the various, the category of business applications and the category of the technology infrastructure. Is it clear to everyone? Right, next heading which we have in the chapter is the key aspects of auditing in a real-time environment. Right, next point for our discussion over here is the key aspects of auditing in a real-time environment. Like ATM is an example of a real time environment, and a real time, immediately the moment you debit, withdraw money from your account, immediately is the debit entry passed into the books, into your bank account. Yes, so that is operating in a real time environment where the transactions are initiated, recorded, processed, and recorded immediately as they happen without any delay. And also real time basis, and immediately, right? Immediately, what does it say? Immediately, initiated, processed, and recorded immediately as they happen without any delay, right? To facilitate transactions in real time, obviously it is necessary to have the systems, networks, and applications available during all times. Sometimes if you try to do a transaction on the banking website or the government website, it says the website is down right now, the server is down right now. Then can you do the transaction in real time? No, then you cannot do the transaction in the real time. Or real time has several critical components that enable anytime, anywhere transactions to take place. And any failure in even one component could render the real system, a time system, unavailable, and could result in the loss of revenue or the goodwill. Why? Because there is a significant exposure in that case. Okay, right. Now what are we talking about over there is the IT components of the real-time environment, right? The key aspects of auditing in the real-time environment, right? So that's an RTP question, right? So what do we do over there? We write down question number 1, right? The key aspects of auditing in a real-time environment. What is that? That is question number 1. And what are the aspects of auditing in a REAL? What is REAL? Real-time environment is equal to AMNH. What is AMNH? Application, middleware, network, and the hardware. Right? Application, middleware, the network, and the hardware, the IT components of the real-time environment, right? The AMNH, applications, middleware, network, and the hardware. What could be the applications? Oh, we just studied about so many applications over here. Category of business application, package software, the small ERP, and the ERP application. So ERP application, SAP, Oracle, e-business suite, core banking solutions, and so. Then middleware could be the web servers which are being used. Then the network could be the wide area network or the local area network. And what is the hardware? Servers, data centers, backup, and the storage devices. Right? So auditing in a real-time environment is equal to AMNH. What is AMNH? The application, the middleware, the network, and the hardware. Actually, this also little bit sounds to me like the layers of an onion only, because they say application, middleware, then network, and then the hardware. So it is similar only, but that they say various layers of an automated environment. These are key aspects of auditing in the real time environment. What are the IT components of the real time environment? What are the IT components? Yes, AMNH, application, middleware, network, and the hardware. Next question over there, understanding and documenting the automated environment. So again, a question asked in your exams, right? Understanding, right? 2 times question asked in the exams regarding understanding and documenting the automated environment. Okay. Right. Yes, understanding and documenting the automated environment. So what happened when you went for one audit, you came to know your client is an NBFC. So you understood the NBFC. You went for an audit, you came to know your client is a banking company. So you again did the knowledge of the client's business. You went for audit, you came to know your client is an insurance company. So again, you did the knowledge of the client's business. But what you came to know, ke boss, all of them are operating in the automated environment. Okay, all of them are operating in the automated environment. So now, as a part of my understanding of this entity and its environment, I also need to now understand the automated environment. And again, what is the first point which I need to understand? The applications that are being used. Okay, so if you see the first three, and our first question, what we started with, key features of an automated environment. What was the first point over there? Application. Then when I came to real time environment also, what was the first point over there? Application. Now when I coming to understanding and documenting automated environment, again, what is the first point? Application. SAP, Oracle, Tally, what application is being used? Which software are they using? Right, the application. After understanding the application being used, now I need to understand two things. One, the infrastructure and the organization structure. The IT infrastructure, that is again the CCTV camera, firefighting equipment, hardware, storage devices, network devices. So the IT infrastructure and the organization structure. Why? Because now in the company there will be a chief information officer, right? Then there will be a data manager. Then there will be a database manager. Are you understanding? Right, so there will be a change in the organization structure also. Then I also need to understand the policies, procedures, and the processes followed. And whenever these policies, procedures are being followed, what are the IT risks and the controls? Right, what are the IT risks and the control? And what does it say? Don't only understand, you also need to document. So how are you going to document? You're going to document in accordance with SA 230. Right, how are you going to document? You're going to document in accordance with SA 230. Are you understanding that? Point number one, applications that are being used, then the infrastructure and the organization structure, then next 2 points, the policies and procedures and the processes, and then the IT risks and the control. Understanding the automated environment. Since the beginning, what is the first thing we are understanding? Okay, you tell me which application are you using. Then after application, hardware, that is the infrastructure. After infrastructure, organization structure, then the policies, procedures, and the processes. analysis and the IT risks and control. And this auditor you need to document as per SA 230. And below is an example of how an auditor can document details of an automated environment. Right? So what is the application? What is it used for? What is the database? What is the operating system, the network and the server and the storage? So this is again coming from my layers of automated environment. Right? So what is the application? SAP. For what it is used? Integrated application software. What is the database that you are using? Oracle 19C. What is the operating system? Say HP. What is the network? LAN or the WAN. And what is the server? HP server and the NAS. It's some cloud-based server also being used. Okay, right. Then another application being used. This is used for front desk and the reservations. Another which is used for restaurant and the kitchen order. And some is used for the billing system. Right. So again, it could be Oracle or the MS SQL. Then again, the Windows 16, or you could be having the latest version of the Windows also. Then whether it is LAN, WAN, in-house developed, or whether it is a package software. And then also talking about the internal hard disk. Right, nowadays, though, you have the SSD also, no? The solid state drive, other than the HDD, hard disk drive, right? So HP server or the hard disk drive. And nowadays we also have the cloud over there, right? So that's the next question regarding the understanding and documenting the automated environment. Okay, so next point for our discussion is regarding what? The understanding and documenting the, yes, documenting the automated environment. Are you understanding? Okay, now it doesn't end with, okay, today I sat down and I understood, acha, you are using this application. Oh, this is your infrastructure. Very nice infrastructure. Oh, this is your organization structure. Very good organization structure. Oh, these are your policies and procedure. These are your IT risks and control. And you document it. Oh no, the story, this is just the beginning of the story. You've only understood and documented the automated environment. But now this automated environment is going to follow you in the entire audit. Entire audit, it will be hovering over you. Okay, automated environment. The company whose audit you are doing, it is operating in an automated environment. So the next question over there, consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. 4 times question has come in the exam. Right, consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Are you getting that? Question number, what is the question number over there? Yes, question number 3, consideration of the automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Are you understanding that? Okay. Right, so consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. So now, first we need to know what are the phases of the audit cycle. So first phase of our audit cycle is the risk assessment phase. After risk assessment, we understand and evaluate. Then we test for the operating effectiveness, and then we do the reporting. Like say example, I want to do the audit of Airtel, and I want to check their revenue. Right? So revenue of Airtel is going to be what? Prepaid and postpaid. Okay. Now I say I want to check the revenue of Airtel manually. Is it possible? Impossible. You understand? I said, no, I want to check the bills. See, if you go to a big bazaar or if you go to a shopper stop, they can show you the bills and everything regarding these are the things the customer purchased and all of that. Now, here it is entirely through their system, their online system. Okay, for how many minutes you talked and then for how much data you have used. And accordingly, the system will do the calculations of your amount which is to be charged to your postpaid bill. And then accordingly, the revenue would be recognized. Okay, so it is like what do you say, compulsory for the auditor. Okay, if he wants to check the revenue recognition of Airtel, he has no option but to check the internal controls over the revenue recognition or the automation which they have done of their revenue recognition. Are you understanding that? The automation of the revenue recognition. Is there an automation of the revenue recognition over there? In case of Airtel, is there the automation of the revenue recognition? Yes, there is the automation, right? You have a prepaid card, you use your card, immediately you get a message on your phone that so much balance has been reduced from your account or so much data has been used. Is there anybody sitting in Airtel to do all of this? No, it is the system which is doing this. Okay, so now first what I need to do, okay, when I come to know that my client is operating in an automated environment, what is the first responsibility of the auditor over there? He needs to do the risk assessment. Okay, which are the accounts and disclosures which are getting affected? Like in my example, the revenue of Airtel, the biggest item of the profit and loss account is in the automated environment. Then I need to consider not only the quantitative but also the qualitative consideration. Then for those accounts and disclosures, I need to check the financial statement assertions. What are the assertions? OCACC, ERCV. Okay, whether I want to check the occurrence of the revenue, completeness of the revenue, accuracy of the revenue, cutoff of the revenue, classification of the revenue. So what are the financial statement assertion? Then what are the likely sources of the misstatement? Okay, where is there a chance that they could do a fraud or manipulation in the billing? And okay, customer has talked only for 2 minutes, but they are showing that our customer has talked for half an hour and they've charged the customer for half an hour. So consider the likelihood from likely sources of the misstatement. And then how much is the chance that this could really happen? And a risk arising from the use of the IT system. Okay, how much of the risk is because of the IT system? Some risk is there due to manual, but here there is nothing manual, it's automated. So what is the risk arising from the use of the IT system, right? So this is the first set of points over there. Okay, which are the accounts getting affected? So you say, like example, the tax, it is calculated automatically by the system. Depreciation automatically calculated by the system. Auditor says, what do you guys do? Everything system is only doing. But what client told me? Depreciation who calculated? System calculated. Okay, so now that's a significant account and disclosure. Is it a significant account disclosure? Yes. Then you need to consider the quantitative and the qualitative consideration. Then you need to check which financial statement assertion. Then what are the likely sources of the misstatement, and also the risk arising from the use of the IT system. Are you understanding? No. Computers, what is the risk? Ego, garbage in, garbage out. You understand? No, right? Once the program is wrong, 2 plus 3 is 2 into 3, n number of times the computer will give you the wrong answer. And we had discussed this, no? Processing data inaccurately or processing inaccurate data or both. Right, so consider the risk arising from the use of the IT system. So like in my examples, what we've understood, okay, revenue and depreciation both are calculated automatically, just as an example. Now what I need to do, I need to understand and evaluate the controls. How to understand the controls? Either by the flow chart or the narratives. Then I also need to prepare the risk and the control matrices. I also need to prepare the risk and the control matrices. Means what? Okay, this is the risk with the use of computers. So management for this risk, what control have you put in place? Then this is another risk with the use of computers. So what control have you put in place? Right, so risk and the control matrix. Okay, this is the risk, what is the control? There is a risk that customer has not used the phone but still you are charging him. There is a risk that he used the phone only for particular time but you are overcharging him. So in order for all this not to happen, what are the controls which have been put in place? Right, so first you understand the controls, that is the business process through flowchart and narrative, then the risk and control matrices, then whatever theory they explained you, array auditor, our system is like this, you don't know, you say wait, I will come to know, let me do a walkthrough of the system. Understand the design of the control by performing a walkthrough of an end-to-end process, like from the beginning to the end, you want to see how the entire transaction is getting processed. Right, then you would also like to check the entity level controls. Entity level controls which are there across the organization, and also the segregation of duty. What is segregation of duty? No single person. Right, so entity level control. So you will like to check the ELCs. Later on, we are going to come for a discussion on ELC. And ELCs and general controls mean one and the same thing. Right, so entity level controls and the IT general controls. What does it say? The entity level controls and the IT general controls, and then you also have the application controls, right, which is the PLC. What is PLC? Process level control. So one you have is the entity level control, and another you have is the process level control. So first you have to understand the business process through flowchart and narrative. Then you have to prepare the risk and control matrices. Then check the design by performing a walkthrough. Then check the entity level controls and the process level controls. Are you understanding that? Understand and evaluate. Then after understanding and evaluating, what is the next step? Now you perform the TOC. Now decide upon the nature, timing and extent of the control testing. Now you decide to check the controls over revenue. You decide to check the controls over the depreciation. So for that one, what you need to do, you will get the source data, regarding the number of minutes the customer has talked, or how much GB data the customer has used, or what are the fixed assets register or the PP register of the company. Can you just take the data and start doing the testing? No, once you get the data, you have to check the reliability of the data and the completeness of the population. Maybe they have 2 million subscribers, but they have given you information only of 1 million subscribers. Maybe they have 40,000 fixed assets, they've given you information only of 20,000 fixed assets. And that data is not reliable. So once you decide the nature, timing and extent of TOC, you'll ask client to give you the data. But what will you check? Whether that data is reliable, whether that data is complete. Are you understanding that? Okay. Then after that, you will do the testing of the key reports and the spreadsheets, then do the sample testing. And again, the person who is performing this testing, they should be competent and independent of the staff team performing the control testing. Right, so what does it say? They should be competent and independent. So now what you have done, you've tested for the operating effectiveness. Are you understanding what is the heading that we are discussing? Consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle, ATF. Right, what is the first step? Risk assessment process. Then understand and evaluate. Right, so first is risk assessment process, then UAE, understand and evaluate, then test for the operating effectiveness, and then you have the reporting. Right, then you have the reporting. So understand and evaluate, then test for the operating effectiveness, then the reporting. So now what might happen after doing the control testing? You might come across a control deficiency. What you need to check? Whether that control deficiency, is it a significant deficiency? Then whether that significant deficiency is a material weakness. Yes, so if it affects financial statements, then it's a material weakness. Then you also need to talk about the remediation of the control weakness, and you will report this to the management. How you will report it? Through SA 265, communicating deficiencies in internal control to those charged with governance and management. And you will also report it in your audit report as per the requirements of section 143(3)(I), whether the company has the adequate internal financial controls and also the operating effectiveness of such controls. Right, the internal financial controls and also the operating effectiveness of such controls. Right, so this is consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. And what are the phases that they are talking about over there? Right, the risk assessment process, then understand and evaluate, then test for the operating effectiveness, and then the reporting. Right, so here what you check? Which are the accounts and disclosures, what are the quantitative qualitative considerations, then after that what are the financial statement assertions, and what are the likely sources of the misstatement, and what is the risk arising from the use of the IT system. Then what you do? You understand the business process through flowchart and the narrative. Then you prepare the risk and the control matrices. Then after that you perform a system walkthrough, end-to-end process. Are you understanding? Then you check the entity level controls and the process level controls. Then you decide upon the nature, timing and extent of the control testing. Then after that you check the reliability of the data and the completeness of the population. Are you understanding that? Then you do the testing of the key reports and the spreadsheets. Then you do the sample testing and also the independence and the competence of the staff performing this testing. Right, and then last is the reporting. What you identify is the control deficiency. Then you check whether it is a significant deficiency or a material weakness. Then you also check for the remediation of the material weakness. And then also what you do, you need to report it to the management through a letter, SA 265, management letter, letter of weakness. And you also report it in your audit report as per 143.3I, whether the company has the adequate internal financial controls and also the operating effectiveness of such controls. Is it clear to everyone? Consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. What ICAI has done in the study material, right, they have put this question over there chart wise, right, and then when they give the answer in the suggested, this is an alternative answer which has been given over there, right. So first step is what? During the risk assessment, the auditor should consider the risk arising from the use of the IT system. So this is the risk assessment process. Then obtain an understanding of the business process by performing walkthrough, the use of IT systems and applications being considered, right. Then while understanding the business process, you also need to understand the entity level controls, also understand the segregation of duties, general IT controls and the applications over there, right. So this is what, these are the points regarding the understand and evaluate. That then what does it say? During the testing phase, the results of the general IT controls will affect the nature, timing and extent of the control testing. And when testing the reports, information produced by entity generated through IT systems and the application. So this is what test for the operating effectiveness. And at the completion stage, evaluation of the control deficiencies may require the use of the data analytics and the CADs, right? So that's the point regarding the reporting. Right? That's the point regarding the reporting, right? But both the answers are equally acceptable, right? So it is same, no? Risk assessment process, understand and evaluate, test for operating effectiveness, and then the reporting. And that's why I've written over there alternative answer, refer consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Risk assessment, understand and evaluate, test for operating effectiveness, and then the reporting. Okay, right. Now coming to the next discussion in this chapter, right? So what have we discussed right now over there? Understanding and documenting automated environment. What is the next point over there? Consideration of the automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Consideration of automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Right now, what is the next heading that we are talking about over there is the enterprise risk management overview. So what is the next point for our discussion is the ERM, the enterprise risk management, right? The enterprise risk management. Okay, and so systematic they are over here. In the first line over there, they've defined what you mean by risk. Then they define what you mean by risk management. Then they define what you mean by enterprise risk management. Then they say, what do you mean by enterprise risk management integrated framework? Then they talk about the examples of the risk, and then the risk assessment process and the ISO certification for the same, right, and the ISO certification for the same. And I remember I had shown you that this examples of risk has been asked as a retail question in your exams, right? The examples of the risk, right? See, we've already done the marking over here, right? The examples of risk has been asked as a retail question, 5-mark question in your exams, right? So the question number 9. Right, the question number 9. Only the examples of risk has been asked as a retail question in the exam. Are you understanding that over here? Right. So now what are we talking about? Enterprise risk management. Do you remember the revised definition of the internal audit now? Okay, internal auditors, they not only check the internal control system, they also review the risk management system. Why? In order to enhance the governance and to help in achievement of the organization objectives, to help in achieving the organization objectives. Are you understanding that? Right? Risk management system. And we saw no the top 1,000 listed entities, they are required to constitute a top 1,000 listed entities, they are required to constitute a risk management committee. Is it clear? And then In case of banks also, we talked about the risk management process. In case of insurance company also, we said that auditor, you have to issue a CA, you have to issue a investment risk management system and process certificate. Okay, so everywhere nowadays the noise is about the risk management. Everywhere nowadays the noise is regarding the risk management, right? So what is risk? That something could go wrong, right? That something could go wrong which would prevent a company from achieving its business objectives. That is a risk. Then what is risk management? A combination of process, people, tools and techniques which will help you to identify, assess, respond, mitigate and monitor the risk. And so a system through which you will try to monitor or mitigate. Mitigate means what? Try to reduce the risk. Then, what is enterprise risk management? A formal framework or a program that is implemented across an enterprise. So, framework which is implemented across an enterprise for enabling the risk management. So what is risk? That something could go wrong. Then you avoid it from going wrong. That is the risk management. For that you make use of the process, people, tools and techniques to identify, assess, respond, mitigate and to monitor the risk. Then when you implement this formal program at the organization level, right, at the company level, across an enterprise, then it is called as the enterprise risk management. And then you have the enterprise risk management integrated framework. With what are you integrating it with? Risk, yes, risk management. What are you integrating it with? You are integrating it with the internal controls in the organization, right? You are integrating it with the internal controls in the organization. So enterprise risk management, internal, see, earlier what we said, internal audit, and what was a broader term? Operational audit. But what did we say? Okay, traditional internal audit and operational audit, there was a difference. But modern internal audit and the operational auditor, there is no difference, right? So today's internal audit, does it covers all operational area also? Yes. Now today's internal audit, will it all cover all areas relating to risk management also? Yes, even that will be covered. So nowadays internal audit was the most smallest, now it has become the most biggest one. Because the operational audit area, operational areas, the risk management areas, even that are looked into by the internal auditor. Are you understanding that? Right. So it says an integrated framework expands on internal control, providing a more robust and extensive focus on the broader subject of the enterprise risk management. Now, while it is not intended to and does not replace the internal control, so now it does not mean that, oh, in company there is no need of internal control system. You can only have an enterprise risk management. No, it is not meant for replacing the internal control system, but rather incorporating the internal control framework within it. So risk management framework system, within it there will be the internal control framework. May decide to look at this as enterprise risk management framework, right? So it could be called as the enterprise risk management framework to satisfy both their internal control needs as well as to move forward towards a full risk management process. Right, so now that is why they call it as the integrated framework. What are they integrating over there? Internal controls and the risk management, right? What are they integrating over there? The internal controls and the risk management. Okay, so is it clear to everybody? Risk management, enterprise risk management integrated framework. And then they talk about the examples of the risk. What are the first four risks which we have over there? Single words over there, MOCE, right? What are the single words over there? Market risk, operational risk. Then you have the as the operational risk, then the credit risk, right? The credit risk and the environmental risk, right? So these are the single letter words. It's the single words over there. Then on the market risk, operational risk, credit risk and the environmental risk. Then you have the and risks over there, right? Then you have the and risks over there. Which are the and risks which you have over there? Regulatory and compliance, technology and security, right? Regulatory and compliance, technology and security. Are you understanding that? Right. Then you have one more risk over there, which is the two letter words, right? Which is the two letter words. Which are the two letter words over there? Financial reporting risk and the business partner risk, right? So financial reporting, business partner. And then you have one risk which is having the or over there. You have one risk which is having the or over there. That is the product or the project risk. Like the product or the project risk. Okay, right? So what do we have over there? Four single words, two and words, two words over there, and one which is the or over there. Are you understanding that? Right, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Right, so total how many risks are given over here? 9 risks have been given over here. Right, so what is the first four? Market risk, operational risk, credit risk, and the environmental risk. Then you have the regulatory and compliance, technology and security. Then the financial reporting and the business partner. And then you have the product or the project risk. Is it clear to everyone? This question was asked for 5 marks in the exam. Now what to do? And we have to donate the 5 marks if we've not studied and learned this and gone. You understand that, right? So market risk, operational risk, right? Then the credit risk and the environmental risk, then the technology and security, the regulatory and the compliance, then the financial reporting and the business partner, and then the product or the project risk. Okay, right. Then after that they talk about the risk assessment process. So now risk assessment process not of the auditor, this is the risk assessment process of the company in the automated environment. This is the risk assessment process in the automated environment, right? So risk assessment process involves the consideration of the quantitative and the qualitative factors like the key performance and risk indicators, risk appetite, risk score, scales and maps, use of data, metrics, and the benchmarking. Right, so this is all what is involved in the risk assessment process. This is risk assessment process in a of the automated environment. Are you understanding that? Of the automated environment. And a typical risk assessment process will include the following, right? Define the objective, then identify what will affect the achievement of the objective, right? So what is your objective? What could affect the achievement of the objective? If it affects, what could be the likelihood and the impact? Then what are the steps you're taking to respond and mitigate? And can you cover any risk 100%? No. So will there be some residual risk also? Yes, there will be some residual risk always. Okay, right? So what does it say? First, every organization needs to have an objective, right? So say, I had already given you this example, like say you want to have a pan-India presence, your organization, your restaurant or whatever, you want to have a pan-India presence. Then what is it which could affect the achievement of your business objectives? Say the competition or maybe the management, the administration which is required. Then you assess the likelihood and the impact. Then you say, no, we'll put SAP, we'll put centralized billing and all, right? So that is respond and mitigating the risk. Still, in spite of that, will there be some risk which will remain? Right, so that will be the residual risk, right? So what will that be? That will be the residual risk. Are you able to understand risk assessment process over here? And it says a company can also, okay, they say, Array, we are very good at managing the risk. So you say, how you're telling that you're very good at managing the risk? So you can also get a ISO certification for the same. Right, you can also get a ISO certification for the same, right, regarding guidelines on managing risk faced by an organization. And these guidelines can be customized to any organization and its context. It provides a common approach for managing any type of risk and is not industry or sector specific and can be used throughout the life of the organization and can be applied to any activity, including decision making at all levels. So can they make a case study over here? Okay, it is applicable only to the ISO certification or MCQ. It is only applicable to a particular industry or only applicable at the beginning of the organization or only applicable to decision making. No, it is applicable for any organization, any type of risk, any industry. And it is not industry or the sector specific and can be used throughout the life of organization and can be applied to any activity, including the decision making at all levels. Okay, right? So that completes our discussion regarding the enterprise risk management overview. Is it clear to everyone? What have we discussed in this chapter so far? The category of business applications and the category of the technology infrastructure, the various layers. Then after the layers, what did we discuss? The AMNH, real-time environment, AMNH. Then understanding and documenting the automated environment. Then the consideration. Now once you understand, you can't sit down, you have to consider this automated environment at each phase of the audit cycle. Then we talked about the enterprise risk management. And now we come to the IT related risks and controls, assessing the IT related risks and controls, right? So we have the next heading over there, which is regarding the IT related risks and control, in which we have the general IT controls and then the application controls. Then you have the ELCs and the PLCs, entity level controls and the process level controls. Right? So you want me to give you a break or something? Okay, so you can take a break, but it's not lunch break, huh? Lunch. Okay, half an hour lunch break, and then after that we continue and conclude.